Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kathy Mitchell. I'm actually here today on my own behalf. I have been participating actively in the Academy review process. And I want to say that the process has proven to be both very fruitful, very difficult, because we have a lot to talk about, and we are nowhere near done. And I think that all of that kind of comes together to say that whatever happens after this class, I really hope that we carefully look at what we were able to accomplish during the 144th, that we continue to accomplish, and the most important thing to know about that is that we are not reviewing most of the curriculum. As you know, we started very late. We started right before this class began. Okay. So, any questions?
Councilmember Alter, and then Councilmember Kitchen.
Ms. Mitchell, we've had an opportunity to talk a lot over the last couple of days, but I'd like you to take a few minutes to continue what you wanted to say, because I think it's important for my colleagues and the public to understand where we're at with the Academy review.
So we have been able to review, and I went back and actually counted all the items. We've reviewed 6 units. There have been many, many units that we have not reviewed because we are able to do an every 2-week meeting. We talk about the unit for a couple of hours, and then there's often, but not always, the ability to make a few of our changes, and then a lot of what we want to see happen is likely to be a longer conversation. So, for example, we had a brief conversation about the U.S. Constitution unit. It was not on our review list, but we brought it up as necessary to understand the search and seizure unit, right? Like, we need to understand what's being taught about the Constitution to understand what's being taught about search and seizure. And so that raised some issues, but that unit had already been taught. And so, this is just the practical reality of the process that we're in. I have been very clear, I hope with all of you and our whole group, that we believe that this is a potentially good process, but it must continue, that we do see things that need to change in every unit that we've reviewed. We have made recommendations even on the unit that is basically about how to use your comms equipment. So I say that to say that we really, my group, the video review panel and the Academy review panel wrote you all a letter this week that I hope that you've had a chance to look at. And it was basically to say that the process for evaluating in between these, like 144 and 145, is something we hope you will really take seriously. And we don't want to just be a checkbox on a list. Right? Like, oh, done that now. So we're, community folks, we're a little like nervous.
I think Councilmember Kitchen was next. Councilmember Kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can hear me now? Okay. Thank you, Kathy Mitchell. I appreciate your participation through this process. We've been discussing this, as you know, and I am bringing, just for my colleagues, I'm bringing forward budget direction that relates to completion of the curriculum review process before beginning the next class, as well as coming back to the council for authorization before beginning the next class, and a number of other aspects of that direction that relate back to the resolution that we passed previously. I want to thank you for your continued participation, Ms. Mitchell, and also for keeping us abreast of what you are experiencing and what you are recommending. I think it is a very important process that we need to get right, and that we need to make certain that we we fully complete as intended before we begin our next cadet class.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And thank you for working with us on the language of the direction. So thank you.
Any other colleagues have any questions?
I do, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I can't see you. I can't see the dais. Is that Councilmember Kelly?
It is, yes. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you for coming today, Ms. Mitchell. I appreciate you being here to answer questions. And I was just curious if my staff would be able to reach out to you to follow up on some of those items.
I would love that.
Okay, that
Yes,
would be
ma'am.
great. And I also want to reach out to Dr. Kringen as well to help sort out some of the things that have been brought to light here and get the perspectives of the other committee members as well.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
I think I see Councilmember Poole's hand. And if you're on the dais, I can't quite see the dais, so you just have to kind of holler up. Councilmember Poole?
I just wanted to thank Ms. Mitchell. I didn't have a question for her, but I did want to support the comments that Councilmember Kelly just made. Let's make sure that we also talk with Dr. Kringen to make sure we get some really good perspectives on what's going on, because in the end, we want to have the best curriculum that we possibly can. Thanks.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions?
Mayor Pro Tem.
If not, I'm sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem, it's
Councilmember Tessa.
Ms. Mitchell, I saw that you signed up to testify on the budget as well as on item 10, the ballot measure. Do you have comments on that, or are you deferring to others?
Yes. So I did sign up on item 10. I'm sorry. It's been a big week. Yes, I hope that you oppose item 10. This ballot initiative is one of those costs too much. That's kind of what you have to say about it. I think that it will be incredibly harmful for our work towards a comprehensive public safety system. The kinds of things that you heard from Dr. Spellman are the kinds of things that the community has been asking for, and are really what a lot of what you did last year was about: adding mental health service providers, adding paramedics, adding to our public safety system the range of services that are what people actually need, and identifying the problems that underlie those 911 calls so that we can solve them. So please do not move forward I know you have to put it on the ballot, but I hope that you all are against it.
Councilmember Kassad, were you done?
That was all, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, colleagues, I actually would also like to echo my colleagues' appreciation for all the members of the committee who've taken their time, valuable time, to contribute to this very important process. I've heard some things that sound promising. I've also heard some things that make me realize that while we thought this was going to be a temporary process, I believe this kind of committee might be something that we need to have in perpetuity. And I just wonder, Ms. Mitchell, what your thoughts are on how long will the committee need to be in existence, or do you agree with the sentiment that we might just need to always have a committee reviewing our curriculum?
We certainly, as a committee, have said that the process needs to continue until we have reviewed the curriculum. To the extent that a curriculum is a living and changing, and should be a living and changing process by which we learn and improve what we are teaching, I absolutely think that we should have that conversation. I certainly couldn't speak for any of us as to being permanently doing this. It is very time consuming.
I appreciate that. That was certainly not my implication. I have one last question, and I'm going to defer to Councilmember Alter. The other question I had was, you said we're not reviewing most of the curriculum, which gives me pause. You said 6 units. You've only reviewed 6 units. 6 units out of how many?
I haven't counted, but
okay. I'll find out.
There have been 7 completed weeks. I think we are in 8 weeks. We reviewed 1 unit that was a week long. And all the others of the 6, the other 5, were either full 1 day or shorter. So that's sort of a way to measure it without because there's a lot of units. There's many short ones and some longer ones, but we have not reviewed most of the time, the material being seen by students during the time they have been there. We've probably reviewed 2 weeks out of 7, or maybe 2.5 weeks out of 7.
That's helpful for perspective. Thank you very much. Councilmember Alter?
Thank you. I just want to flag that when we have the conversations about the budget riders related to the Academy, and I'm a co-sponsor on Councilmember Kitchen's, I think we do need some conversation among the dais to surface some things. I have spent a couple hours the last few days talking with Chief Chacon and Dr. Kringen, and I have some serious concerns. I think that our budget riders address those concerns to the degree that we can at this point in time. But I do think that we need to be very transparent about what our intentions and our goals are as a council as we move forward with these cadet classes to provide the officers that we definitely need. But I think we need to be very transparent and be clear about the goalposts now. So I just want to flag that we will need to have some conversation, not because I'm necessarily taking issue with the budget riders, but I think we do need to have that conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Ms. Mitchell, we'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming down to City Hall.
Thank you all so much.
Absolutely. I heard that there was another in-person speaker, but what I didn't hear was